Hey, I'm Zach, and I'm going to be explaining the preterite. And we use the preterite to indicate sequence of events, interruption, main event, beginning/ending of event, and action completed. So for an acronym, you're going to use the acronym Simba. So the first letter is S, which stands for sequence of events. An English example is this is I woke up, brushed my teeth, and took a shower. So in Spanish, this would translate to me desperté, me cepillé los dientes, y me duché. The second letter is I, which stands for an interruption. An example of this, I was watching TV when the phone rang. In Spanish, estaba mirando la tele cuando sonó el teléfono. So notice how the beginning is in the imperfect, and then after the interruption word, in this case it would be cuando, after the interruption word, the word is going to be preterite. So it's a preterite verb. The third letter is M, which stands for main action. An example of this is it was snowing, so I skied. In Spanish, estaba nevando, así que esquié. So the imperfect is used to set the scene, it was snowing, and the preterite is the action during the scene, or because of the scene, so I skied. The fourth letter is B, which stands for the beginning or ending of an event. So an example, the game ended at 2. In Spanish, el partido terminó a las 2. Also we have in the beginning, which I didn't write down, but it's I started to cry. So in Spanish, yo comencé a llorar. So when looking at a sentence, look for the times and ending or beginning verbs to determine whether to use the preterite or the imperfect. The last letter is A, which stands for an action completed. An example of this is I went to the mall yesterday. This is a definite action in time, so we use the preterite. Fui al centro de comercial ayer. There are a lot of preterite indicator verbs such as ayer, anoche, anteayer, and el otro día, just to name a few words when looking for the action completed part for the preterite. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Pablo, and Stephen Catchell and I will be talking about Dare to Be You regarding the imperfect tense. Dare to Be You is an abbreviation for the different instances when the imperfect tense is to be used. Indication phrases also display when the imperfect is needed. These include a veces, cada día, cada semana, nunca, siempre, and frecuentemente. I will be talking about the Dare section in Dare to Be You. The Dare section talks about description, age, repeated action, and finally emotion. The D stands for description. An example of this in English would be, my brother was tall. In Spanish that would be, mi hermano era alto. The A stands for age. An example would be, the students are 11, or in Spanish, los estudiantes tenían 11 años. The R stands for repeated action. An example would be, I always visited the school during the morning. Or in Spanish, yo siempre visitaba la escuela durante la mañana. Please take note that the always and siempre are imperfect indicators in Spanish, which we talked about earlier. The E stands for emotion. The example would be, I was very sad. Or in Spanish, estaba muy triste. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation.
The second part of the imperfect acronym is to be you. The T stands for time. An example in English would be, it was midnight. In Spanish you would say, era medianoche. The second letter is W, which stands for weather. In English you would say, the weather was nice, while in Spanish you could say, hacía buen tiempo. Next is the O, which stands for ongoing actions. In English you would say, I practice soccer every day, while in Spanish you would say, practicaba fútbol cada día. The fourth letter is the B, which stands for background information, which can also be used in descriptions. In English you would say, the theater was big, while in Spanish that would translate to, el cine era grande. The last letter is the U, which stands for something you used to do. In English you would say, I used to pee my pants, while in Spanish you could say, usaba urinar mis pantalones.
Siempre trabajaba para un hombre Ese siempre trabajaba para un hombre. Ese siempre trabajaba para un hombre. Entonces mi jefe me despidió, es cuando cambié.
Mudé a la piscina a buscar un trabajo, pero fui el solo persona allí. Así fui a la cocina a poder cocinar, pero yo olvidé cómo cocinar.
Siempre trabajaba para un hombre. Ese siempre trabajaba para un hombre.
Hey Pablo, mi jefe me pidió, ¿tienes un trabajo para mí?
No, no tengo un trabajo para ti. Siempre trabajaba para un hombre. Ese siempre trabajaba para un hombre. Ese siempre trabajaba para un hombre. Entonces mi jefe me despidió, es cuando cambié.